Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah. The Frida's Cleaning Service is a small family-owned business established in 2003. With over 17 years of professional, high-quality, and greatly satisfied service, the Frida's Cleaning Service will get the job done. Specializing in sanitizing your home, business, post-construction, and commercial cleaning, no job's too big or small. See for yourself and give us a call, 567-249-9172. La Frida's Cleaning Service. Our reputation is always spotless.
It used to be hard for this family to run and play in their yard. That big pooch left its business all over. Dad would spend his time cleaning up puppy messes. Now, I make sure the yard is clean so they can play without worry. Yes, there really is a poop fairy.
Do you have questions about buying or selling a home, not sure if you qualify? Your local real estate agent, Antoinette Ware, is here for you. Do you live out of town, moving out of town, or looking for investment property? Well, let's work together and make it happen. Antoinette Ware can be reached at 419-917-6258. The name you know, celebrating over 20 years, serving Toledo and surrounding areas.
And hey, it is Smooth Tim, and thank you for dropping in and spending another Wednesday with me on Tim's Tidbits. My co-host isn't with me today, but hey, we'll just run solo today and we'll get through stuff and cover the news that you hate to hear. That's right. Anyhow, I want to appreciate everybody that tuned in last week. Those of you from around the world, Australia, France, Ireland, Africa, Poland, Germany, Mexico, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Thank you for tuning into our show last week. We certainly do appreciate it. Yes, we do. And as always, hey, we're concerned about everything from sea to sea to coast. And, people, it's, as I say on every show, a lot easier to love thy neighbor than to hate thy neighbor. So, let's try our best to make this world a better place than when we came into it. How about that? Anyhow, hey, let's get into tonight's show. I don't know if everybody has been paying attention, but it seems that besides Roe versus Wade getting struck down, which happened in, when was that, June of 22. June 24th, 22, they decided to, almost 2 years ago now, they decided to overturn Roe versus Wade, which, gave the women a right to an abortion. And now it seems as if the right wants to push the envelope just a little bit further and even say that you shouldn't be able to take the abortion pill. So that's going to be an interesting restriction on women's rights, which was originally passed back rather in 1973. That's when Roe versus Wade got passed. Heck, I was still back in high school and stuff when all that happened. It's been 50 years. Women have had those rights, and now for some reason there's a lot of rights being taken away from women. But what I want you to do is pay quick attention to this video about, hey, what's next on the horizon that government's trying to take away from you.
The Supreme Court's first abortion-related case since Roe v. Wade was overturned nearly 2 years ago. Yesterday, the justices heard oral arguments in the case that could determine nationwide access to mifepristone. The so-called abortion pill was used in nearly 2/3 of all abortions last year. Jan Crawford was at the hearing and has more from Washington.
The issue of abortion is back before the Supreme Court. But this time, a majority of justices on both sides of the ideological aisle seem to agree, appearing highly skeptical of arguments to restrict use of the so-called abortion pill.
I'm worried that there is a significant mismatch in this case between the claimed injury and the remedy that's being sought.
A group of anti-abortion doctors argue the FDA wrongly expanded access to mifepristone in 2016 when it extended the window women can take it from 7 to 10 weeks, and during the pandemic in 2021 when it said an in-person doctor's visit was not needed, allowing mail-order pharmacies to ship the drug nationwide. The plaintiffs say less regulation is dangerous to women's health.
Women are now left to receive these drugs in the mail or in their dorm room without ever having been checked by a doctor for life-threatening conditions.
But in court, most of the 90-minute argument focused not on the merits of the FDA's decisions, but whether the doctors, who say they may have to perform emergency abortions if complications arise, even have legal standing to sue.
This case seems like a prime example of turning what could be a small lawsuit into a nationwide legislative assembly.
The maker of mifepristone and the federal government argued the FDA has the authority by law to make decisions on drug safety.
Second-guessing the scientific, data-driven judgments of an independent agency is an extreme position that could inject uncertainty across American life.
Now, if the Supreme Court does rule against the FDA, that could affect other government agencies. I think that is unlikely. Based on the arguments, it looks like there's going to be a narrow procedural ruling that will preserve nationwide access for the abortion pill.
Yeah, that makes things kind of interesting now, doesn't it? So we'll see what happens with the abortion issue. If the Supreme Court decides to support that and go along with the same as they decided with Roe versus Wade, and just take women's ability to access. I don't understand that. 7 to 10 weeks seems halfway reasonable. Rather, I don't know that. How do you even know if you're pregnant before 6 weeks? I guess. Before a woman would actually miss her normal menstrual cycle and say, hey, something's wrong, maybe I better take a test. By the time that's done, it's too late. So I don't know what to say. Anyhow, you do have a justice in there that's helping blow down all these landmark moves for women. Obviously, we talked a little bit that in 1973 they passed it R v. Wade, and now with the new justices in here in 2022, they roll that back. So interesting what can happen over 50 years of what you would believe progress. But one of them that's not helping out rather so much is Justice Clarence Thomas. Let's take a look at his track record just for 1 second. How about that?
4 years before he was appointed to the highest court in the land, Clarence Thomas said this: "There is nothing you can do to get past black skin. I don't care how educated you are, how good you are at what you do. You'll never have the same contacts or opportunities. You'll never be seen as equal to whites." Despite that perspective, Clarence Thomas has dedicated his time on the bench to undoing landmark civil rights achievements for black Americans. In 1995, he became the first Supreme Court justice to openly criticize Brown v. Board of Education, which, of course, outlawed segregation. In 2013, he voted to gut the Voting Rights Act. In 2023, he joined a decision to strike down race-based affirmative action. Thomas has also used his position to fill the judiciary with scores of his former clerks, most of whom are white, and all of whom, he says, share his views.
I'm not going to hire clerks who have profound disagreements with me. That's a waste of my time. And someone said that's like trying to train a pig. It's a waste your time and aggravates the pig.
This week, we have some news that Thomas has decided to hire as his new clerk a woman who is publicly accused of sending racist text messages like the one that reads, "I hate black people," in capital letters. She is also someone Justice Thomas has described as nearly an adopted daughter.
Wow. So I don't get it. If anybody out there understands what's going on with Clarence Thomas, I look at him and I'm like, this is a black man who obviously was enabled to get to where he was through affirmative action, being able to get into college, being able to have those opportunities that's not afforded all the time, especially to the underprivileged. I mean, he's talking, like I said, the affirmative action. He takes away abortion rights. The anti-segregation laws. That allowed the integration of schools so that the black individual and or Hispanic individual, whatever the case may be, can get some higher education. And this guy is in there just taking us all backwards. I don't get it, people, but let me know if you understand it. He's married to a white woman. He decides to, knock the crap out of any advancements that black people have made. And maybe he just wishes he wasn't black. I mean, I don't know. That's a horrible thing to say, but hey, maybe that's it. I do not know. Anyhow, there are some out there that actually really care. And, you will have individuals out there such as Clarence Thomas, who stifles the advancements of, minorities by striking down, landmark legislation that's given them opportunities. But in a small little Oklahoma town, they ran into a person who was running for consul, I believe it is. We'll go through this clip. But in any regards, he was a white nationalist, and once the people of the town found out about this gentleman's sidebar hobbies, they decided it was time maybe to do a recall election and get somebody in there who could had a better mindset for the community that he's representing. Check it out.
It's an unusual meetup on a Monday night in Enid, Oklahoma. The location is secret. Somebody minds the door for security. A small group determined to change their city.
Everybody in this room played a role.
Among those here are 69-year-old Connie Vickers.
I was born and raised here in Enid.
And 74-year-old Nancy Presnell.
I've lived here most of my life.
They're best friends and Democrats, rare in the deeply conservative county. Both retired, but hard at work.
How many doors did you knock on?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot. Enough to get the signatures needed for a recall election of City Commissioner Judd Blevins. This is Judd Blevins. In 2017, tiki torch in hand in Charlottesville, Virginia, marching alongside avowed white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
I saw the picture of Judd Blevins with the tiki torch, and I was just shocked.
The more they looked, the more they found. Blevins had been an active leader in the white nationalist group Identity Europa. According to an analysis of photos, biographical details, and other information, Blevins hid his white nationalist identity behind the online moniker Conway. In private online forums reviewed by NBC News, Blevins, as Conway, posted racist messages and praised Hitler. And yet, when the former Marine ran for city commissioner last year as a conservative Republican,
he won by 36 votes.
Now, Presnell and Vickers are part of the Enid Social Justice Committee, vocal opponents of Blevins since he took office, the group mincing no words on its website, saying Enid has a Nazi problem.
A lot of people don't want to say the word Nazi, but when you see what he did and what he's involved with, it's not name-calling, it's what he is and what he believes.
We wanted to ask Blevins what he believes for ourselves, but he denied our multiple requests for interviews. We tried once more outside a city council meeting.
Can I ask, you were a leader in an Oklahoma chapter of a white nationalist organization, and I want to know if you have any explanation to that.
Come here. Why did you march and unite the right?
Why did you hold a tiki torch and march as people said Jews will not replace us, sir?
I've been a conservative all my life.
Cindy Allen was editor and publisher of the Enid News and Eagle when Blevins won. Her paper had published a front-page story about his past prior to the election. Blevins called it a hit piece.
We followed up many times, and he never would answer us.
And yet he won.
He won. There's an opportunity now to address what kind of tolerance of extremism this community is going to have.
Wow. Yeah, right? So you got to ask yourself, it just reminds me of some other pieces that we've ran here when it comes to your white nationalists. Either they've got a hood over their head or, they're always trying to hide their identity. That's what I don't understand. If you believe so strongly that, in white nationalism, and you've put yourself so far above the Latino race, the black race, the Oriental race, whatever the case may be, if you're anti-Semitic, hell, I don't know what your problem is. Why aren't you proud of it? Why do you not want to get on the media and talk about it? Why do you have to wear a hood over your head? What is your problem? What are you embarrassed of? I propound that question. If you're so damn proud of what you're doing, then confront, put it out there. Maybe some other people may or may not agree. Maybe you're afraid of somebody coming over there and kicking your butt because you're such a moron. That could be the problem, too. I don't know. Either way, hey, if you're listening and you're a white nationalist and you can tell why some of you don't have the balls to just get out there and do it in public, unexposed, naked, so to speak, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. But then there's other idiots that get through the system, I guess, so to speak, and that's every once in a while you'll hear about the good cop, bad cop. Well, that happens. There are bad apples, but it's amazing how some people can just continuously get through the system. And check out this. We really do also need to do something about and confront.
He is a troubled Michigan police officer who moved from department to department, leaving scandal in his wake.
In multiple cities, he was accused of abusing his authority, violating the public trust, and lying repeatedly. But that didn't stop him from finding badges in city after city.
Tonight, 7 investigator Ross Jones reveals how it was able to happen and how some police chiefs could soon be in hot water.
It's frustrating that someone like this could slip through, and the system is in place for a reason, and it should have caught this guy.
Plenty of police departments were willing to hire Officer Mark Aldrich, but very few, we learned, were eager to explain why.
You think this is the best look right now, sir? You don't want to talk about this, sir? No, sir.
Aldrich has worked for at least 4 different police agencies, running into serious trouble repeatedly. But instead of losing his badge, our investigation reveals he kept finding new ones. As an officer with Belleville Police, records show Aldrich obtained a vehicle from a towing company to give to a needy family. But instead of donating the car, according to police records, the vehicle showed up on eBay. Aldrich said he sold it for extra income. He would later claim the vehicle was always intended for his own use.
Eventually, Aldrich wore out his welcome in Belleville, with the chief there telling me he asked him to resign. He did. And it wasn't long before Aldrich found his next job here in Huron Township, and trouble soon followed.
Less than 6 months on the force, records show Aldrich responded to a vehicle crash that involved an exotic dancer. Aldrich arrested the woman for OWI and marijuana possession. A week later, while the charges against her were still pending, he met up with her at the strip club where she worked. Aldrich received lap dances, records show, and the woman performed a sex act. He was later accused of harassing the woman, sending texts that creeped her out. When questioned, Aldrich was deemed dishonest. Wrote a Huron Township lieutenant, "I shudder to think of what his attitude or actions may consist of if he were allowed to continue employment." Aldrich resigned and began looking for his next job.
Shame on us if we allow people like this guy to victimize the citizens that we took an oath to protect.
Damn straight. Shame on you guys if they allow that to happen. And it's sad if somebody gets through the cracks like that. And the key word was, if I was listening to that and you were listening to that correctly, is he was asked to resign. So if I resigned because I'm a bad cop and I got caught, letting some strip club girl off on an OVI so that I could manipulate her into some sex act a little later on, that's okay. All I have to do is resign, or maybe I could do something worse. Maybe I could shoot somebody, and that's okay, just as long as I resign. Don't put a black eye on the department. We don't want anybody thinking that we're not all-American Boy Scouts up here in the PD, sheriff's office, whatever the case may be. That's just ridiculous, people. Totally ridiculous. And this isn't the first time that, again, I've talked about this on the show. We've seen that happen a few other times where these people get through the system because they're able to resign. They avoid any type of prosecution. And, if you're a normal Joe Blow citizen, I bet your ass ain't going to avoid any normal prosecution if you've done some of the things these people have done. But, hey, that is, I guess, the society we live in. Depends on which side of the government you're on is what you get away with occasionally, right? I don't know. What was kind of interesting, though, and I seen this and I wanted to share it with everybody, and speaking of law enforcement and everything else, I don't know if anybody out there has ever gotten one of these little red light cameras. And in fact, I can remember about 10 years ago, I got some red light ticket that supposedly I was speeding through the intersection. I mean, I don't know about all that, but in any case, it's amazing how these people have these cameras in different cities. And, in Toledo, actually, where we live, they've outlawed the red light cameras because there's a lot of people that were innocently accused, and rightfully so, of a violation at an intersection that had a red light camera. And check this story out, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Everyone, I'm News 5 investigator Joe Paganakis reporting right here just outside East Cleveland City Hall, where motorists and some East Cleveland city leaders are questioning the validity of traffic cameras here in this city. This traffic camera on Euclid Avenue in East Cleveland appears to be taking hundreds of pictures every day. Back in December, one of the pictures taken was of a van owned by Joanne Gibson, who lives in Cleveland.
Kind of angry about it. When I get kind of angry, I want to find out what's really going on.
Joanne says East Cleveland sent her 2 speeding tickets in the mail, demanding that she pay $105 because her van was caught doing 27 miles an hour in this 20-mile-an-hour zone just outside Shaw High School. The problem is, though, Joanne wasn't behind the wheel here on Euclid Avenue back in December. You see, Joanne's van broke down, and she was visiting her daycare center. And as you can see clearly in the picture on the traffic camera ticket, Joanne's van was hooked up to a tow truck and was being taken to the repair shop when the alleged violation took place.
What are they doing? I'm at the center getting this ticket and my car's on a flatbed. I'm not driving that truck.
Joanne says she went to the East Cleveland Police Department to explain it was the tow truck operator who was speeding when the picture of her van's license plate was taken. Now Joanne is concerned her driving record and insurance rates could take a hit.
I don't want anything on my driving license. So far I have a good record, and I'm going to try and keep it that way.
Cleveland Council President Twan Billings is now trying to help Joanne get the speeding ticket expunged.
I would like to see it removed. I mean, the law was already passed. The council voted for this camera to be removed.
But Billings says council's vote was overridden by East Cleveland Mayor Brandon King. Cleveland Clerk of Council Eric Brewer believes East Cleveland's traffic camera is operating outside state of Ohio guidelines, which clearly states traffic cams can operate if a law enforcement officer is present at the location of the device, something that's not happening in East Cleveland.
There's no due process in this procedure to say that this is a debt, and they're just adding $50 collection fees to individuals who are already poor
And the battle over the validity of traffic cameras here in the city of East Cleveland will take place at the upcoming East Cleveland City Council meeting right here at City Hall during their budgetary hearings on March 29th. You know, News 5 will follow through on this developing story. I'm News 5 investigator Joe Paganakis.
Yeah, I'd like to know what you think, because that's the same thing that happened in, like I said, here in Toledo, and they've just completely wiped out the traffic cams because of the BS that's involved. Just like that. You know, how do you catch a ticket when you're being towed? The tow driver's doing, let's say, 35 and a 25. You catch a 10 over ticket, and you're not even in the vehicle. You have no control of the vehicle. There's another person actually in control of your vehicle, and how do they avoid any liability responsibility? But you're going to take a hit, and then it's going to put points on your license, and then that points is going to increase your insurance costs. Yeah, I understand exactly where that women's concerns are coming from. But, you know, there's other ways to get ripped off out here around the good old US of A. And there's, I don't know if we covered this last week, but if not, let's cover it again. And this is another way crooks are trying to get the information off of your debit card or off of your Visa, MasterCard. And, well, check it out, man.
In the past 12 months, we have recovered more than 12 of these skimmers from local retailers throughout our city. So today, we're here at Walmart to give you guys some tips on how to not become a victim of identity theft, specifically related to skimmers and EBT cards. Technology has come a long way, but so have criminals. They've gotten so smart, it takes them approximately 4 seconds to apply one of these skimmers to your checkout machines at any of your local retailers, and they don't even have to come back to retrieve them. They're Bluetooth, and they're stealing your information within a matter of seconds. So as you can see in those videos, you nearly miss the moment that the skimmer is placed because it is so fast. So when you're at a checkout stand, one of the ways you can check to make sure that you're not going to be the victim of the skim is to pull on the top of the skimmer. If it's fake, it'll pop right off. And if you look, you'll notice that it is almost identical and nearly impossible to tell that it was fake. One of the other things you can do is a lot of retailers will place a sticker on the top of the skimmer, and if you don't see that sticker, that's a good indication that it is not their actual checkout. Next time you're out shopping, getting groceries, getting gas, 7-Eleven, wherever you may be, protect your...
That's right. Protect yourself. I don't care where you're at. I've gotten taken on the gas pump. That was about, oh my goodness, what's that been? Maybe 8 years ago, maybe. I think they got me with a skimmer at a gas pump, and then I had to jump through all kinds of damn hoops to demolish the charges that they'd ran up and get a new card, and just don't even use them. I will never, never, never use an outside gas pump. I'll go inside and pay. And, like they said, even when you're inside the store, it's a good idea when you see that card reading device, make sure that it's not fake. Does it have a sticker on that people haven't tampered with it? Or maybe even give it a quick pull on the front to make sure it's not a fake device. It's there to, get your information. People might think you're freaking crazy, but you might save yourself a whole lot of hassle if you really put it into perspective. And, I think we had even seen that happening at ATMs. I guess it was 2 weeks ago that we seen that they had done that real quickly, even at a bank ATM. So, to the best of my knowledge, probably the best thing you can do is get one of those tap cards where you don't even actually have to, physically, insert your device where it can be read. Who knows? They're going to figure out a way to get you there, too. I'm 100% sure that, as technology grows to try to combat people from getting your shit, they're going to figure out a way to get it. I guess that's just the way it is. Let's see here. What I want to roll on to next. Oh, yeah. Speaking of getting scammed, first off, I want to roll back. There's a lot of disparity in the different neighborhoods around, even in Toledo here, when it goes to house valuation, or when you're having your house appraised for it to be sale or after sale. And I ran across something that was real interesting, and that would be that the actual disparity in between neighborhoods, and especially if you come from a minority neighborhood. Let me run into that real quickly here. And people, it's crazy. Check this out.
This 4-bedroom home in the hills of Marin, north of San Francisco, offers lots of light, water views, a school right down the hill.
So the house used to end right here.
Owners Paul Austin and Tanisha Tate Austin knew it was worth at least $1.3 million based on a 2019 appraisal. But looking to borrow as the housing market heated up, Paul met a new appraiser and showed her around.
And what was the number value? You open up that piece of paper, and what is it?
Oh, $998,000.
Less than $1 million.
Less than $1 million.
Which means almost $400,000 less than
Yes.
the appraisal you'd gotten a year earlier.
Yes.
And so they applied for a new appraisal, but this time
I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to get the appraisal that my house is supposed to get.
And in the United States, what is your best guarantee of getting the best rate possible?
Being white.
Being white.
So they worked to erase themselves from their own home.
All of our art, took that away, pictures of our family, anything that, would resemble that this home belongs to a black family. Just grabbed it all, put it all in the shed, put it all away.
And they asked a white friend to stand in when the new appraiser arrived.
So this time you open the paper and it says what?
1.482.
Yes. $500,000 difference.
That's just totally ridiculous. You tell me, folks, that's not discrimination, bold and in your face. And wait a minute, because they said a few years prior it was at 1.3 million. They had a new appraiser come in and it was 998,000, so they lost a quick $400K. Then they changed the perception of their home and they go to 1.4 million, so they made money by looking more white. That's a damn shame. If you're running into that kind of stuff, that's exactly the kind of things that we talk about on a weekly basis on this particular program. Is when you see things like that, when you see discrimination and that kind of things against either yourself and or your friends and or your neighbors, that unfair practice, affects, them, emotionally, economically, everywhere in their lives. And, we can't have this stuff. This isn't the way America is supposed to be ran. So make that difference when you vote. Get the right person in the office that understands what's happening out here at times towards certain ethnicities, towards certain sexes, is wrong. And we're not going to put up with it. Make the change. Protect the people that you are supposed to serve. How about doing that just for a second? We'll see. Anyhow, hey, you know what else I wanted to talk about is, and maybe they got what they deserve, maybe they didn't get what they deserved, but, depends on your perspective of stuff. Some women might say, well, they got what they deserve. A couple of guys got taken big time when they went to a strip club, and let's call it a strip club scam. And maybe, like I said, right or wrong, but yeah, it was actually wrong. But some people might think that, karma's kind of funny. Who knows? Check this out.
Left incapacitated, waking up lost and confused to find several credit card transactions worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's how plaintiffs describe what happened to them at 3 clubs. The total amount of money charged between them easily clears $1 million. The alleged victims feeling violated and stripped of peace of mind. Within the nightlife of the Valley is a 2-mile stretch from Loop 202 down North Scottsdale Road past McDowell. Some looking to stay out after dinner and drinks. Take a drive and you'll notice 3 strip clubs on this stretch: Dream Palace in Tempe, Skin Cabaret, and Bones Cabaret in Scottsdale. All 3 are now at the center of a civil lawsuit referred to as sister clubs, the latest complaint in demand for a jury trial filed back in January. The complaint accuses the ownership of racketeering and conspiracy, as well as several other allegations. There are now nearly 20 plaintiffs in the case, and we spoke to 2 who want to remain anonymous. We'll call the first alleged victim Joe. Joe says he and his friends were at Bones Cabaret 4 years ago when he got separated after going to the bathroom.
I remember kind of walking through what I thought was like a cloud of like either perfume or makeup or something, like dusty from one of the kind of like cracks of lights that was kind of coming through. And that's when I ended up actually in a VIP room and started to get these symptoms that felt not alcohol related, something else.
Do you believe you were drugged?
I do, yes.
Joe confirms he did not take a drug test, nor did other plaintiffs in the case, but they all say they became incapacitated after entering VIP rooms.
I felt like I kind of didn't have control of the situation. That was really the first instance that I knew.
Joe says he couldn't get out of the VIP room while his friends couldn't get in before he was moved to Dream Palace. The next day, he discovered several charges on multiple credit cards. How much was the total?
Just under $72,000.
Joe's not alone. Fox 10 obtained Scottsdale police reports specifically linked to the clubs mentioned in the lawsuit. In September of 2021, a financial crimes detective says he started seeing many cases reported by alleged victims detailing common factors like VIP rooms, having memory loss, signing and thumbprinting paperwork, photos taken of them, and extremely high credit card charges. Reports say patrons visited from several different states, telling police they were brought into these VIP rooms.
Just confused, felt lost, spaced out. I had no clue where I was at that point.
Another plaintiff we'll call Bobby describes the same experience. Bobby admits to only 2 transactions he agreed to, paying for drinks and a private dance. But after that, he says he authorized nothing else at Skin Cabaret. He later found 8 transactions on his credit card account.
Didn't think that these were actually legitimate transactions at that point. It just seemed unconscionable that this would even happen.
His total amount of charges, the highest of all the plaintiffs.
$181,000.
And the fallout has been traumatic.
Certainly strain on not only myself, my family, wife, had to get my parents involved. We have little children as well, so just the impact emotionally was pretty difficult to bear.
Joe was in the Air Force, stationed in Arizona, now feeling the stress.
It's been literally life and career altering for me. My career took a detour that off of the trajectory that I had worked hard to provide for myself.
They all tell the same story, yet none of them have met.
Rod Galar.
So you got to ask yourself, man, that's a hell of a night at the strip club. I was looking at these guys running up those amounts. I'm like, how in the hell? One dude was $72,000 worth of charges on his credit card. Pretty good card if they allow you to put up $72K. And $181K on this other guy's card. How do they have that much credit on their card? I need to go financial advice from these guys, or maybe not, because if they're paying that kind of money one night at the strip club, oh my God, I couldn't imagine. And well, that's what you get for going into a dump like that anyhow. I mean, sin begot sin. Guess you reap what you sow, unfortunately, folks. Sometimes, as horrible as that is to say, sometimes, like I said, we try to get the right people in the right positions. Yeah, you can get rid of that kind of sleaze out there. There's no need to be having strip clubs around. There really isn't. I mean, there's enough in this world without having to, have a woman degrade herself to that degree that she thinks she needs to go up there and do that kind of thing. And this, that whole thing is disgusting in my book. But in any regards, let's move on to one other thing and see exactly. You know what? Let's take a good look at what the Republicans are doing this week and why every once in a while we call them What do we call them?
What the hell are the Republicans doing?
Kevin McCarthy abandoned you, Ken Buck abandoned you, and Mike Gallagher just announced on Friday that he's going to resign.
The majority is down to just one. Seems like Republicans are in complete disarray.
Feels like these guys are basically walking out and giving you all the finger.
Hope future Speaker Hakeem Jeffries sent you a nice fruit basket today.
I filed the motion to vacate today. The clock has started. It's time for our conference to choose a new speaker.
What person that can pass a competency test would want to be the Speaker of the House?
The Freedom Caucus right now has been a disaster.
I feel we are seeing yet another tantrum by a tiny faction.
God help us. The House Republican majority is a dysfunctional embarrassment.
It's like trying to herd cats.
You think your job in life is to grandstand and complain while the other team runs over you?
This is why conservatives call the GOP the stupid party, by the way.
That's what it is, the stupid party, because they just can't get anything done, and they are in disarray. It's getting sad. You know, and growing up from a Republican family, it's not a Republican family, actually, you know, sheesh. You know, I don't understand how they have flipped so severely, you know, their point of view and their actual directions for America. And it seems that there's too many outside influences changing the mindset of the party. Like I said, it seems to me anymore the Democrats are more like the Republicans used to be, and Republicans are more like the Dems. But, you know, hey, it is what it is, what it is, what it is. And let's see here. Let's go on to one part, and this is part of the show that I guess everybody kind of looks forward to, and that is our Asshole of the Week. And this guy... he's actually a senator. Yes, he is. And he is, I guess, representing his people by saying, let me put it together real quickly. The scenario would be that Shalonda Young, Shalonda is the White House's head of Office of Management and Budget. And so this is a white senator addressing her in a forum in the Senate.
What you look at is, can you compete? Can you do it better than the other competitor? And with that, can you create a P&L statement that works? And the tax rate, that's after the P&L. It's never, ever once been a consideration. So this Republican jigaboo that, you know, it's a tax rate that's stopping business investment, it's just completely faulty by people who've never run a business. They've never been there. They have not a clue what they're talking about.
Okay, that's the part that got me. So I don't know if he realized what he said. He may as well drop the N-bomb, right? So I mean, I couldn't believe that. So there's the mindset, you know, of individuals you're putting in office. Maybe that's who the hell you want there. I don't know. But when you sit there and start to degrade the individual's authenticity by throwing a name tag on them, in this particular case, to use the word jigaboo, come on. That's what you're going to do in a forum where you are a professional. You're putting there to make changes in laws and or pass budgets so that you can help your constituents, the people that you're supposed to serve. And you're going to label somebody that quickly? So then how do you think the people that you're serving think? So how's this guy looking at me because my skin's a certain color or I'm a certain sex? Just asking. But, hey, there's another reason to sit there and say, I need to vote and I need to vote, right? Get yourselves together, people. Get yourselves together. Anyhow, hey, I'm about ready to get the heck on out of here myself. Leave you with a little bit of video for your enjoyment. Of course I will. And until next week, I guess I could leave the asshole word up too, because that's almost the same thing. So until next week, man, I am so out of here and appreciate all you people do and all for listening in. Have a great week and see ya.
When Donald Trump was president the first time, the Russians wanted him to win.
He called him colorful, talented. He said Donald Trump is the absolute leader of the U.S. presidential race.
They helped him. He won.
Господина Трампа избрал американский народ. Можно спорить, но нельзя проявлять неуважение.
He never forgot it.
He welcomed his support.
I like that he said that.
Over and over, Trump put Putin and Russia over American interests.
The problem is not that Putin is smart. The real problem is that our leaders are dumb.
He wants Putin to win in Ukraine.
I said, this is genius.
Told him Russia can do what it wants in attacking our NATO allies.
I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
He doesn't have a good relationship with Putin. He owes Putin. Trump's not just on the other side, he's on the take.